Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Morrowind Book Club. Today we're going to be reading The Brothers of Darkness because we've been on this sort of quest, we've been running into we've got hints that we're going to be dealing with the Dark Brotherhood and stuff, and we went ahead and we just slew a guy. He's over there. Go us, yay! And I'm wondering if he has some ties to the Dark Brotherhood. So I don't know if that's what this is about, but I would think the Brothers of Darkness, it sounds like it's about the Dark Brotherhood, so let's go ahead and read it. The Brothers of Darkness by Pelarn Assi. As their name suggests, the Dark Brotherhood, called it, has a history shrouded in obfuscation. Their ways are secret to those who are not themselves brothers of the Order. Brother is a generic term. Some of their deadliest assassins are female, but they are often called brothers as well. How they continue to exist in shadow, but be easily found by those desperate enough to pay for their services, is not the least of the mysteries surrounding them. Yeah, that is a good question. The Dark Brotherhood sprang from a religious order, the Morag Tong, during the Second Era. The Morag Tong were worshippers of the dangerous spirit Mephala. Alright, so I was right about that. Wait, were? It's one of those like we were worshippers, we still are, but we were then too. One of those things. Okay. Who encouraged them to commit ritual murders. In the early years, they were as disorganized as only obscure cultists could be. There was no one to lead the band, and as a group, they dared not murder anybody of any importance. This changed with the rise of the Night Mother. All leaders of the Morag Tong, and then afterward the Dark Brotherhood, have been called the Night Mother. Oh, so all leaders of the Morag Tong, and then afterward the Dark Brotherhood, have been called the Night Mother. So does the Night Mother not necessarily refer to Mephala, or whoever the Night Mother might be? Is it a mortal? That's an interesting thought. Whether the same woman, if it is even a woman, has commanded the Dark Brotherhood since the Second Era is unknown. What is believed is that the original Night Mother developed an important doctrine of the Morag Tong. The belief that while Mephala does grow stronger with every murder committed in her name, certain murders were better than others. Alright then. Murders that came from hate pleased Mephala more than murders committed because of greed. Murders of great men and women pleased Mephala more than murders of relative unknowns. We can approximate the time this belief was adopted with the first known murder committed by the Morag Tong. In the year 324 of the Second Era, the potentate, Versidu Shay, was murdered in his palace in what is today the Elsewhere kingdom of Senchal. In a brash move, the Night Mother announced the identity of the murderers by painting Morag Tong on the walls in the potentate's own blood. Interesting. I was always under the impression that the Morag Tong were local to Morrowind. I didn't realize that they operated in the other provinces. Previous to that, the Morag Tong existed in relative peace, more or less like a witch's coven, occasionally persecuted but usually ignored. In remarkable synchronicity, at a time when Tamriel the Arena was a fractured land, the Morag Tong was outlawed throughout the continent. Every sovereign gave the cult's elimination his highest priority. Nothing more was officially heard of them for 100 years. It is more difficult to date the era when the Morag Tong re-emerged as the Dark Brotherhood, especially as other guilds of assassins have sporadically appeared throughout the history of Tamriel. The first mention of the Dark Brotherhood that I have found is from the journals of the Blood Queen Arlamehera of Hegath. Yes, she spoke of slaying her enemies by her own hand, or if necessary with the help of the Night Mother and her Dark Brotherhood. The secret arsenal my family has employed since my grandfather's time. Arlamehera wrote this in Second Era 412, so one can surmise that the Dark Brotherhood had been in existence since at least 360 if her grandfather had truly made use of them. The important distinction between the Dark Brotherhood and the Morag Tong was that the Brotherhood was a business as much as it was a cult. Rulers and wealthy merchants used the order as an assassin's guild. The Brotherhood gained the obvious rewards of a profitable enterprise, as well as the secondary benefit that rulers could no longer actively persecute them. They were needed. They were purveyors of an essential commodity. even an extremely virtuous leader would be unwise to mistreat the Brotherhood. Not long after Ali Mehera's journal entry came perhaps the most famous series of executions in the history of the Dark Brotherhood. The Colovian Emperor Potentate, Savirian, there we go, maybe, Chorak, and every one of his heirs were murdered on one bloody night in Sun's Dawn in 430. Within a fortnight, the Colovian dynasty crumbled to the delight of its enemies. For over 400 years, until the advent of the warrior emperor Tiber Septim, chaos reigned over Tamriel. Though no comparably impressive executions have been recorded, the Brotherhood must have grown fat with gold during that interregnum? I'll have to look that word up. The Dark Brotherhood has no shortage of business opportunities. Has no shortage of business opportunities on accounting. I have been informed, maybe and accounting, I have been informed, is the Brotherhood's favorite euphemism for an execution. Alright, while they are officially considered an unlawful organization in every corner of the Empire, like the Thieves Guild, they are almost as universally tolerated. Interesting. I wish that there would have been a bit more information about the Morag Tong. So, the Morag Tong was the original, and then the Brotherhood broke off from them. But let me see, okay, give me a second here. Okay, so it seems like the Morag Tong was just a cult, but the Brotherhood was more like a business that sprang out of it. Maybe this, okay, and earlier it stated that, the Morag Tong was all across Tamriel. Now, I had the assumption that it was only here in Morrowind, because I've never heard of it outside of Morrowind. But mind you, my time with the games, with Oblivion and Skyrim have been a little bit more limited, but even in Daggerfall, I don't recall any mention of the Morag Tong. So I'm wondering if this is one of those things where the Morag Tong was added into canon, like it was added into the lore with Morrowind, and then maybe in Oblivion and Skyrim, that lore carries forward, or maybe not. I don't know. But it seems like the Morag Tong is definitely in a much weaker position than the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood has grown and become a lot more, we'll say, powerful. Okay. Interesting. I kind of want to go back to some of my Darkest Darkness. I'm curious now, because this has Vampires of Vardenfell as well. You know what? I'm getting outside of the scope of the book club. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to save some of my discussion for some of my speculation and thoughts for the next proper episode of the Let's Play. Maybe we'll dive into that. But this has definitely given me some stuff to think about. That was a really cool history on, we'll say, where the Dark Brotherhood came from and where we are right now. That's kind of cool. All right. Anyways, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, leave it a thumbs down. Either way, let me know what you thought in the comments section. And until next time, I would like to ask you all to game on.